be your moderator for today. And I'm excited our guest is here. We don't want to delay him. We also have the president of Images Initiatives here with us in this virtual room. So we're going to begin. And I'm sure it's going to be an amazing time, just like we had last week. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Welcome once again to this webinar hosted by Images Initiative and the Household Empowerment and Livelihood Productivity Systems. My name is Opeyemi Odonla, and I will be your moderator for today. I'm excited that you're here. Please let somebody know that we started. Let them know that this is something that we all need to learn. This is about empowerment for ourselves as individuals and households. And this is how we can ensure that global food security is possible in the next 5 years till we achieve the global goals. Right about now, I'm going to ask the president of Images Initiative. He's also the host of this webinar in person of Dr. Olawale Olaide to give us a welcome address and just set the tone for what we are going to have today, this afternoon. Well, if you're in local time here in Nigeria, I'm in Nigeria. And so, sir, you have the floor. Please welcome us, give us the opening address, and we'll be excited. We are
Thank you.
excited. Yes, sir.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Opeyemi Odonla. It's a pleasure to be here today for this webinar. I'm in a place now that is called a supermarket, coincidentally. And what we are discussing today is how to make food available at the household level. And now imagine that the food at this supermarket have not been produced, whether in the farm or from some location, and brought to this place to be made available to more people. But imagine there's a crisis as we had in 2019, running to 2020, 2021, even on to 2022. I'm talking about COVID, where people could not even go out and access the supermarket. So many people were stranded and hungry. But for those who had some form of uh, things around them, maybe vegetables, some uh, annuals, maybe maize, they planted maize, maybe cassava, and other things. They had some cushioning effects on them in that they were able to access food within the household. And not just accessing the food in the household, but also the quality of food is also very critical nowadays that people use chemicals to produce things. And down the line, the food maybe causes some illnesses in their bodies. So we now talk more about food safety, nutrition, and cost of um, healthy diets. So healthy diet is very critical, and so healthy diet is very critical when we consider home gardening. And this is what we want to present to you today, that even though you may not be able to produce everything you need within the household, but the essential things like vegetables, like ephemerals, annual crops that you can produce where you are. You may worry about the space and other things. I'm sure that the guest speaker today will be letting you into how you can do that within the minimum space that you have got within the house or in your community. That said, I want to welcome all of us to this exciting webinar, and I wish you a very productive session. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for that wonderful session. And I love what our host said. It's not just about having food to eat, but having safe food to eat and you being able to provide that for yourself. And so without further ado, I will be introducing our guest speaker today. Is somebody that has worked really hard when it comes to, food security. He has such a vision to ensure that there a specific amount of gardens being planted globally, and he will tell us more about that. But for now, let me introduce Mr. Sope Afolayan. So Sope Afolayan is the founder of Climate Emerge Innovation Development Hub, Seed Hub, a climate engagement and innovation development hub, raising young leaders and green enterprises to lead transformational change across Africa. Is passionate about how Africa can transition to a circular economy. Is the founder of Garden in a Box Africa. I'm sure we're going to hear a lot about that today. A social enterprise that aims to eliminate hunger in Nigeria and across Africa by promoting access to a stable supply of safe, healthy, and nutritious food for all via organic vegetable gardening starter kits and a mobile application. GABA's mission is to inspire and cultivate 1 billion organic vegetable gardens across Africa by 2025. He is one of the winners of the 2021 Food Systems Game Changers Challenge organized by the Rockefeller Foundation for designing rural food innovation systems. He's the convener of Waste Innovation Challenge Nigeria, an initiative born out of the passion to inspire and challenge the next generation to provide creative, innovative, and secular solutions to waste and environmental problems. He's a Blum Global Fellow of the Milken Innovation Center, Jerusalem Institute for Policy Research, Israel. He's the author of the book Stop Thinking Outside the Box. He has also consulted for Bosch, Kenya Airways, Business School, Netherlands, Play, Nigerian Academy of Science, here Namibia, Technology Distribution, Organic Cottage Farms, among others. Ladies and gentlemen, please let us welcome Mr. Shokwe Afolayan. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much for being here. We're excited to have you. And you have the spotlight. We are just going to be here learning from you. You're welcome, sir. You have the floor.
Good afternoon, good afternoon, everyone. Depending on your location across Africa, across the world, I'm excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I want to quickly, especially appreciate our coach, president of Images Initiative, Dr. Laide, for this privilege, this opportunity to share on this global platform. Thank you, Dr. Laide, and I hope you have fun where you are and bring some food actually from that supermarket. Okay, so without, I want to thank everybody too for joining us today. Thank you from wherever you are. It's a very important and vital topic. So without further ado, I would want to share my slides now so we can get started. Okay, could you confirm if you can see my slide?
Yes, I can see a slide. We're just waiting for it to be on presentation mode.
Okay, thank you. How about now?
Yes, it's perfect. Thank you, sir.
Okay, awesome. Okay, all right. Thank you for muting. So once again, my name is Shokwe Afolayan. Food systems, organic vegetable farming, innovation in food systems, circular economy food systems. These are aspects that I'm very, very passionate and interested in. And we've been doing this for a while, so I'd just like to share a bit on also gardening, a sustainable approach to food security. I also want it to be a bit interactive as much as possible. So at instances, I can ask that you drop maybe some thoughts, perspectives, responses in the chat box. So please do. Let's start by please, you can introduce yourselves in the chat box. I don't know if that has been done. Let's get to know you, what you do, and where you are joining from. Thank you. Then I also want to ask, do we have farmers here? Anybody who is into food production, especially in your backyard, your house, your home, not large scale. And if it's large scale too, it's fine. So you can just do a brief introduction quickly. So once again, I'm glad to be here to be sharing this. Like I said, it's a very vital and congruent topic. This is one aspect of the world. One aspect, a sector in the world that affects everybody, be it the rich, the poor, the educated, the uneducated. Wherever you are, whichever part of the world, your background, your academic qualification or position in life, food is integral. In fact, food is one of those major sectors that drives our world. Actually, to even start with, food system is still the largest contributor of greenhouse gas emission. So is that important? That's how powerful this topic is. But we're focusing on household gardening. Okay, so why are we actually looking at food security? Why is it important on a national and global scale? I mean, it's been said from the video that was played from the onset. I saw stats about malnutrition, 1 in 5 children in Nigeria. So in Africa, as well, 1 in 5 people, are food insecure, according to FAO. I always like to share these statistics. The amount of food we are producing at the moment is not even enough for the world. By 2050, um, the world's youth population will come from Africa, 25% of the world's youth population. That's just youth population. You can imagine by then what the world youth population will be. It is projected to be around 9.8 billion to 10 billion. Then some schools of thought projected 11 billion by 2050. By 2030, I think around 8.5 billion thereabouts. I mean, that's a lot of humans. And what we are currently producing is not even enough. Now imagine adding additional, I mean, I laugh each time I think of that statistics. Now imagine adding additional 2.5 billion humans. I mean, you can imagine, what that would require to feed mouths, to feed stomachs, I mean, to feed households, to feed communities, to feed nations and citizens of the world. So it's actually something that we must we must take seriously, actually. We must take cognizance of, and we must be proactive. We must plan ahead. And I always like to say it begins, with the household, from the household level. That's where solving global food insecurity problems starts, from the household, actually, not from the large scale farmer or even the smallholder farmer. You'll be shocked from the household level. I mean, as you know, in Nigeria, I mean, I'm sure some other African countries as well, food prices, I mean, are literally on the rise, soaring. Like, I remember during COVID, I mean, a pack of bread was sold for, say, around 300, 350. I mean, right now, you get the same bread for 1,500 naira. That's like at least 500% increase. I mean, so I recently too, my wife and I would have to we literally became FBI and spies. We are literally watching, our antennas are everywhere. Price of a bag of rice. So it goes to 80, it goes to 120. By the time it's getting to 50, my wife can just call me, let's quickly go and get. I mean, is that interesting? I mean, so and it's affecting a lot of things. Of course, there are other factors affecting that in Nigeria: inflation, government policies, climate shock as well, flood and all that. So it's a major concern. I've emphasized rapid population growth. There's nothing we can do about that for now, especially about Nigeria's population and Africa's population. I mean, so there's that surge coming. And I really do hope that African leaders, Nigerian leaders, can plan for this future, especially with respect to food systems. So food security is important. The importance cannot be overemphasized, actually. I mean, as we speak, more than 673 million people were undernourished, according to WHO 2025 statistics. And let me just move to that. So what exactly is food security? What does it really mean? According to FAO, focusing on 4 elements. How available is food to you, to me, to households, to communities? So is there food in the system? I would like to say that from two perspectives, in a way, yes, there's food in the system. Of course, there's that aspect of, 45% of food going to waste, food loss. Then there's food waste at the household level and, other angle. However, in spite of the availability of food, a lot of people it's still not available to a lot of people for several reasons. It's still not available. So the interesting thing is some of us may not be feeling it. Please, I just want to confirm if you can hear me. Okay, can you hear me? Am I good?
Yes, yes, sir. We can hear you.
Thank you. I mean, so you may not be feeling it, actually. You may not be feeling it, but trust me, a whole lot of people still go to bed hungry. Several people still go to bed hungry. In fact, including some of our amazing and super rural older farmers. Some of them still, live in poverty, actually. So how available is food if you are talking about food security? Just a minute, please. Sorry, there was a noise here, so I needed to to tell them to stop that noise. Okay, so it might be available to you, but it's not available to millions of people in Nigeria. Then the other element or factor is accessibility. How accessible, So now even if it's available, how accessible can people afford it? I just talked about soaring food prices in Nigeria. I mean, it's unpredictable. I remember before COVID, I used to be a lover of berries, grapes. Then I usually buy at Foodco. I think it was 750, there about 650. But as we speak, I mean, it's really, really expensive, premium now. I mean, so those are very healthy food that one should have as part of, one's diet. So how affordable are people able to obtain, this food easily? How obtainable, how accessible? I mean, we're talking about minimum wage, we're talking about prices of food. I mean, there are other factors competing with the quality of food people eat. I mean, housing is there, accommodation, education is there, transportation, fuel prices have gone up. I mean, one time by almost 1,000%. I think it's hovering around 820 naira to 860 naira now. That's for petrol. I mean, so these are factors that so you'd have to draw preference of scale. I mean, I learned that in economy, or opportunity cost set, maybe not preference of scale, maybe opportunity cost, alternative for one. So you would have to choose what exactly you want to spend your money on. So is it accessible? Then utilization is another key factor. I mean, which is actually at the heart of it, apart from having food available, how rich is what people are eating, how safe, how nutritious, how nourishing. Very, very, very important. I mean, I would like to emphasize again, the way we also grow food is another thing. Most of the food we eat, they are chemical laden, heavily grown, with synthetic chemicals, fertilizers, and the pesticides and all that. And I always like to say that these chemicals, I mean, research has shown, find a way into our soil, into even our harvest, even into what we eat. A World WHO report stated that 1 in 10 deaths globally is caused by contaminated food, especially from chemicals for growing food and malnutrition, of course. So it's important. So if we're talking about food security, it's not just accessibility or availability. How nutritious? I mean, what's the quality of what we're even eating? So yeah, so that's also very important when explaining food security. Then stability, can this continue over time? So even if we have a nourishing, safe, healthy, even affordable and available food for how long? Like I just said, in the case of our beloved country, I mean, it's a lot of disruption happening every day. But I think, well, I don't want to say it's a good news. I know my wife has been singing a lot of tomato songs recently that is so cheap in the market now. I mean, she's gone to stock them, and I know she wants to go stock round two again before. Yeah, I know somebody, a friend who invested in tomato plantation. Yeah, the envisaged that by last month or that scarcity period, it was going to make like 100% profit. But unfortunately for him, I think the benchmark for him, a basket was maybe 32,000. But by the time he got the market, it was around 12,000. I mean, that's ridiculous. So it was complete loss for him. But I mean, instability is the order of the day. I mean, I think recently through plantain. I mean, I like plantain. Plantain is we have a lot of it in the market now. Prices are down a bit. So these factors we must consider them while explaining or talking about food security. So it means everyone has reliable access to safe, nutritious food in enough quantity and at all times. So I remember this when I was conducting my questionnaire, my survey during my master's program, one of the low-income communities. One of the questions there was, do you generate food waste? And these people, I mean, it was literally like a slum. I mean, they looked at, our Harris and told us, are you kidding me? Or, I mean, they're like, are you kidding us? Where is the food to waste? No iota of grain goes to waste in that community. Of course, they have goats, they have animals, they feed them to. Unlike the other, socioeconomic class, in Bodija, the premium areas, I mean, a lot of food goes to waste. But again, the most important thing is not about the quantity, it's about, how nutritious, how safe, the quality of what we're eating, actually. So that's a major element that makes up food security. So please, once you have questions, I'm unable to see the chat box now. You can please drop your questions, your comments, your experiences. So that once we are able to read them, we can engage properly. Now let's get to home gardening. I'm sure you can see slightly, part of this organic garden box showing there. Please, I also want to know, okay, you can also help me confirm how many people are already into organic gardening in your home, your backyard, your front yard. Please, you can respond, you can drop a message in the chat box. How many people are, and what are you growing? I'm interested in knowing what you're growing, if you are. And if you're just about starting, please mention that as well. State that, please. So let's have an idea of how many people are already growing their own food. One thing I would like to say is, I like to say that, and this is my original quote, one of the ways we can solve the global food systems crisis is to put the power of growing food in people's hands. I mean, during COVID, we were literally waiting for rural smallholder farmers to bring food to the cities. I mean, it was not a good period. People went hungry. We saw how they broke into warehouses, where politicians locked, bags of rice and other things across the nation. Broke. I remember a governor he was crying. He was actually crying, and maybe that was crocodile tears because bags of rice and other, food were stacked, and people were actually hungry. So COVID really revealed a lot. I mean, I saw on TV too, even in America, people broke into grocery stores and then stole a lot of things, anything stealable. People were literally hungry. And I had people too around me. As a matter of fact, I know we'll get to the slide where I'll talk about our organic vegetable gardening starter pack, our amazing startup project and product. So I mean, I had people too during COVID, and they were literally calling for urgent 2K. I remember a particular friend said he had not eaten with his family, I mean, since like 3 days, and I just could not understand that. I mean, but I'll get to that story. It was very emotional. It was part of what inspired starting an organic startup, in Ibadan, Nigeria. So home gardening, I'm sure we know. I mean, literally, it's like cultivating small farm in your home, in your backyard, your front yard, your balcony, your windslow, I mean, any space available. So even in your kitchen. So that's all literally home gardening. And like Dr. Lydia emphasized, I like to encourage people to plant vegetables, herbs. If you have the space, you can plant fruits as well. I mean, so I always say, growing up back in the day, I mean, in the 80s and even 90s, I like to say that from experience, 3 out of 5 homes in our houses had fruit trees, banana, almond, mango was orange. I mean, so every season we had enough to pluck, I mean, we climbed the trees. Even in our schools, private schools growing up, we had enough. You pack, even I remember university days when it was mango season, I would go harvest buckets of mango. I mean, a lot of boys hostel. You would harvest and harvest and harvest and harvest, and we never exhausted, the fruits. And so, as much as possible, you can start. I always like to say you can start small. So, home gardening is among the oldest and enduring systems. Like I said, growing up, we've always, for instance, as young as age 7, 8, 9, and 10, my siblings, my neighbors, we had a matron. Then our backyard was like our mini farms, mini farms. So we had a lot growing tomatoes, vegetables, maize, any season. We'll plant maize. I mean, a whole lot. I mean, for a whole lot, we're planting a whole lot, and we're harvesting. We had small poultry farm as well. I mean, we were raising chickens, both the local one and the hybrid. I think those were, we had layers, we had broilers. I mean, so we literally grew up. That was the way we grew up before things changed. Then we had all the fast food taking over, white collar jobs, inflation, demands on families, rise in school fees, career. Everybody just, people just needed to upgrade their careers, want to become World Bank president, and people left those amazing lifestyles. I'll just try and speed up. So if there are interesting comments in the chat, you can just interrupt and let me know.
All right, sir.
What did you say, please?
I said, all right, sir. I'll let you know
Okay.
about the comments, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. It is, I mean, so dive, like I said, vegetables, fruits, herbs, small livestock, as much as possible. Operate, home gardening, you operate it with minimal purchase inputs, often using local knowledge and materials. You don't need a fortune to start your home garden. You can literally start it, I mean, like for free. We'll get to that in a minute, for free home gardening. I think the most important thing is, I mean, the garden in my house right now, my house, not our office, my house, most of the seeds we got them from, what we prepared, the waste left from tomato seeds, and they are germinating. In fact, there's this one in one of our drainages in the compound. Drainage is dry, you will hardly notice soil. I forgot to include the picture. If you see the fruit, the tomato fruit, we've been harvesting it. So massive. I mean, I tell people this land is blessed. When T.Y. Bello said the land is green, she must have been inspired. The land is green. You literally be looking for the soil. I mean, that's tiny hole into the ground, tomato germinated, and we've been harvesting it. There's a second one to growing, a lot of fruit on it. So that's how blessed our land is. We know the land is there. I know at least 60% of the world's arable farmland is still in Africa, and Nigeria is a major, farming community. And Oyo State, where we are at the moment. So it works for any space, your yard, your balcony, your corridor, rooftop in some places. I mean, they go on the rooftop too. I mean, so you just have to think like there is no box. And it can be done using, I mean, that's what I wanted to say, using sacks. Sacks are, accessible. I mean, you can use almost anything, waste tire, old tires, containers. I'm sure we have plastics. Pets are contributing nuisance to our environment. You can cut them into two, fill them with soil. I mean, either for your nursery, and if it is the bigger ones, you can actually grow vegetable inside them, as well. So there's no excuse. I mean, this is also a call to action, challenging us. I'm also speaking to myself. There's no excuse, for not growing your own food. So again, just to reemphasize, home gardening. By the time I moved to Ibadan 2020 full time, I didn't like it was COVID actually. So the thought was that in maybe 2 weeks at the max, the lockdown in Lagos will be called off. But 3 months, 6 months, we had to shut down our office in Lagos. We couldn't pay clients and clients couldn't pay us. We had to lay off staff, sold, all the assets, and both of the two partners, we just shared the proceeds. And then I got back to Ibadan and it was like a joke. Ibadan was not even as tough as Lagos. Lockdown, you could still access the market, but things were a bit scarce and expensive. Then I remember childhood activities. And I told my wife I got some seeds and started planting, and voila, started harvesting. And like I always share, the moment we tasted the first vegetable we prepared, both of us just looked at ourselves and said, "This tasted different." I mean, it tasted different from what we were buying from the market. So then, the inspiration started coming, but I'll get to that once we get to get in the box Africa. So please, if you're already, you can also put in the comment box what are you using to grow for those that are growing. So what materials are you using? So in a way, it's also circular economy to reuse, materials that would have been discarded and would have constituted nuisance to our environment. So you can use almost anything available to grow, if you don't have enough space, like you can see a ground with soil and all that. So home gardening directly supports all four dimensions of food security that I talked about earlier, and it brings food closer, reduces dependency. Let me mention this. Maybe I'm part of a team We're working on community garden projects, Nigeria, US, Uganda, and Mexico. So we call it Farm Story. So we're working with community farmers. In New York, New York alone has over 3,000 community farms, mini gardens managed by, say, 10 to 20 people. And during COVID, that came pretty handy for New Yorkers. I mean, at least community, in fact, they gave to other households. It came pretty handy. We did some documentaries, our representative there, and it was really inspiring, life-changing, what, that small garden can do, be it at the community level or school level or household. We were focusing on household, but we work with schools, we work with communities and impact-driven organizations. So as you can see in this picture, this is Ruth. Ruth is our CEO, Garden in the Box Africa. This is our hub. And you can see we have wooden beds. I mean, a lot, we call this spot food forest because we still have, though, at different times, huge amount of vegetables compared. I mean, everything harvested here. We're literally having this quantity every other week, and we're selling some part of it. We're sharing, amongst the team. I mean, so that you're not thinking, of course, trust our ladies. It was time to prepare amazing stew, soups, and all that. So this is real. I mean, we gave a lot out. We're harvesting, and the space is very small, not more than, I mean, for habanero, it was just, I would say, 2 square meter. And we harvested a lot. It was literally growing like wheat, the fruit, a lot. We're just clearing them off now. The tomatoes, I mean, you can see we had like just 10 stands and we're harvesting a whole lot. 100% organic, no chemicals, no fertilizers. I mean, so this is possible. So we call these our experience center. So when people come to maybe purchase or have an experience of our organic vegetable garden starter kit, so we show you what is possible in your household. We also have grow bags. I mean, like I said, I'll get there. You don't need all the space in the world to start growing. Like I said, 2 square meter. It's not so big, but you can actually harvest a lot. I mean, you can imagine how long this will serve a household. Maybe for days if you prepare what she's carrying in that picture. And so, I mean, it's very possible. I want to emphasize it. It's very possible. I know farming requires commitment. It requires a bit of work, getting your hands dirty, but it is very, very possible. You can start your own home gardening. You can provide food for your family. Even, let me share this testimonial. So one of our customers bought our gardening starter kit. The habanero part was a huge success for her. It was so interesting that she started selling it in the market. They would call her, do you have up to what we call paint bucket here? Trying to see how many liters we'll call that. Maybe 7, 8, 10 liters, thereabout. She was at monthly for sale, apart from what she was using for her home. She's still on my neck as we speak. She wants to, start it all over again and even expand. So she wasn't just growing, she wanted to grow for her family, but the harvest was so interesting. She was even earning from it. She was making money from it. So there are no limitations, there are no impossibilities. So while you are all
We have a comment in the chat.
through.
The comment is by Mr. Akitudik Badamosi. He says that he has a vegetable garden and fish farm and he uses trampoline pond. That was to your question on what people use in their homes for gardens.
Amazing. Yes. Amazing. Thank you, sir. Thank you for that feedback. Awesome. So please, others, if you are doing anything, and if you are not, just mention it. We're about to start. After this webinar, we are going to start. In fact, Opera is one of the things we should do follow up. Let's find out how many people will actually start a garden.
All right. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Akintunde. Well done, sir. So, so in my backyard, we have maize, we have tomatoes, we have saint leaf. Oh boy, that thing is amazing. So each time we are preparing the yam pottage, anything, just go. It's even because food is linked to the quality of life. So there's a way I find this. It's therapeutic actually. Just going to the backyard and harvesting, plucking, pruning. taking care of the garden. It heals in a way. So it's not just about the food you're eating. It's a way, in a way, it's also a way of engaging with nature. You're also enhancing the quality of your life, apart from the fact that you're going to be eating, what is healthy, nourishing, and safe. I mean, so that's my own experience. It's always fun. Yes, it can be work, but it's fun. I have a son who is always looking forward to going to visiting the garden every day, whether at the office or at home, every now and then. So one time, let me just share this. There was a time my wife served vegetable and I tasted it. I said, this is the vegetable from the backyard and the garden. 3 months after harvest, it was bumper vegetable harvest, bumper. So she's not gone to the market to buy vegetable in a long while, actually, apart from perishables like meats and fish, chicken, but say vegetable, in fact, most of the tomatoes and habaneros and bell pepper we've used in the last 3 months, either from home or from home. So it saved us a lot of money because I know when she's going to the market, there's a budget and you start seeing thousands. I mean, they look so small, but by the time you sum them up, I know God has blessed us with amazing, amazing women and our wives and sisters, and so that's my experience, and I know for other people, like the person I shared. So you can actually save a lot. So, like I said, for me during COVID, we're able to. I mean, it just reduced the amount of money we're spending in the market. Like I said, especially on vegetables, drastically. So we expanded it, and in 4 to 6 weeks, you start harvesting your amaranthus, your Littoral scoporus, your wedu, your. I mean, most of those local leafy vegetables. 4 to 6 weeks, you're good to go and they grow fast. They do well, actually. So again, healthier eating cannot be overemphasized. So I noticed, like I said, these things grew well without chemicals, and it tasted way better. I mean, it tasted fresh. If fresh is a taste, tasted healthy, yes. If healthy is a taste, that was what we perceived. And I knew that the trajectory of what we eat was going to change. I mean, from that day on 2020. And that's what it's been for us. So we've been able to save a lot actually, if healthy meal. So I tell people when I eat fresh ewedu, Olitoros us, I almost instantly I feel the impact. And I'm not kidding. So I eat it a lot. So I mean, on a lighter note, when I get to say I mean I'm hungry, been working on somewhere and I feel like let me try and eat out and I take away I try to enter a place where we don't have much crowd so that I can drink and don't go and tell anybody. So I can literally drink it. I just watch and watch. Other times you stylishly scoop more of it. I mean, I enjoy it. It works for me, actually. So, like I said, you save a lot of money. A small garden can, I mean, cut down your spending on food. Actually, for real, this is real. So we just need to be conscious of it. We need to really invest in it. We need to be committed to it. You can save a lot, a lot. I mean, Ruth is another example. She does a lot of growing, in her house and the pub as well. So then what it does also is you get steady supply of food. You don't have to wait for maybe farmers to supply markets. Anything can just happen. Our climate disruption, political disruption. It can just be. It can even be global meltdown or anything. So you can look, fall back on your garden and access food as much as possible. Then, I mean, of vital importance to us as environmental sustainability practitioners, development practitioners, protecting the environment. So, like I said, one of the major contributors to destruction of biodiversity is agriculture. So, the amount of chemicals we pump into the soil kills a lot of microbes. They are important natural microbes in the soil, nourishing the soil, even enhancing um, um, growth of what we are planting, enhancing our environment, biodiversity. So these chemicals destroy them, I mean, kills them. And of course, sometimes these things leaching, washed off to our water bodies. Fish will take them in. People use this water for cooking for other things. You can imagine that circle of, hazard. Should we call it hazard now? or danger or destruction. That's what it can also do. We are destroying our environment. So another importance of home gardening is this, like I always emphasize, it's on our website. I realized that for that population coming in 2050, let's even say 10 billion, that's a lot. So people are going to be clearing trees. So I know somebody now who has about 10,000 hectares in a rural community. And I mean, a mentor told me about it because he reached out to the mentor. He wants to cultivate cassava. And they're going to be clearing everything to plant sometimes maize, sometimes, and like Dr. Ade was talking about, annual crops and this other type of crops that we access easily. Just clear plus indigenous trees. We are losing capacity for carbon sequestration or carbon sink. I mean, these forest trees and all that help us to absorb carbon and release clean, oxygen into the air, which we breathe. I mean, so the cycle is just the ripple effect is the negative repercussion is it's not even what we can capture. It's not even what we can, quantify. So because the population is going to increase. I mean, it is increasing. And I really still don't know why Africa can't control it because the world is already controlling their own population, China, Europe, and all that. In fact, the world is planning based on the projected population growth in Africa. So, I mean, I really don't know what African leaders are doing, if they're even aware of these statistics. I know African Development Bank is aware, and African AFDBs are already putting systems, infrastructures in place to prevent shocks and to be able to buffer, that teeming population by providing incentives for youth to go into agriculture and all that. So we need to produce more. So at household level, that's one of the areas we need to encourage, motivate people. By all means, provide all the supports, all the knowledge, wherewithal to cultivate our home, because that will reduce the amount of dependency on rural supply of food. Very, 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 very important. So, I mean, so when you are cultivating at home, I mean, you're not cutting down trees, you're not using chemicals as much as possible. I mean, so you are growing organically. In a way, you're also, saving and protecting our environment, and which is very important. It lowers your carbon footprint to a large extent, reduces waste as well. So the amount of food being transported is reduced because you're providing, you're growing food, just around you. So I'll come back to GABA, Garden in the Box Africa later. I mean, how many of us know the person in this picture? I like to see comments. Who is in the garden? So when I put this picture, I said, who is in the garden? I should have included that. Who knows? Who knows who she is? You can unmute, you can drop it in the comment box. So I'm waiting for the response. Who is she? Do you know her? Okay, any response in the chat box? Who knows
Yes,
this
we have a
woman?
response from Dr. Labi. She says Mrs. Tinubu.
Senator Oluremi Tinubu. Thank you. For those who don't know, that's our first lady, our president's wife. So I think she started last year campaigning, and she's been heavy on it. We're also hoping to, run some collaborations with our office, maybe in your states. I mean, we're pushing all the buttons. So she started the garden. In fact, there was a picture. I just didn't include that. She showed her harvest in her office. She harvested quite a number of vegetables, put in baskets, and showed Nigerians and the world. I mean, so like I said, this is our first lady. Of course, we are not saying all of the meals she's eating is from the garden, but in a way, I think it's laudable. I know people, there are quite a number of criticisms and all that. So yeah, she might be okay financially, but whether you are okay financially or not, the quality of food she will get here, she won't get it from the market, except she will go to maybe a strictly organic vegetable garden market. So please, across households represented here, let us have plans to start a garden as well. Please, it's important. So national level, she's pushing for that. Like I said, we must put the power of growing food in people's hands. Enough of waiting for people in the market or supply of food, like what COVID taught us. That was a lesson for me. We can't wait any longer. Yes, you may not be able to grow everything, but grow what you know you will need the most, what you eat. Or I mean, vegetables are we can't do without them, so as much as possible. So if the first lady is cultivating, then there's no excuse, for you not to. And it doesn't have to be fancy, nothing fancy, just start. These things, God has blessed our land. Nothing technical. For starters, nothing technical actually. So circular economy in the home garden through gardening. So like I said, at home through gardening. I'll just share a bit about our organic vegetable garden here. So gardening works for also so again 2020 while researching, so the interest to grow really soared, and I realized that there's more than just planting. Then I went online, then I came across um, compost manure production. Then I realized that from all the kitchen food waste we were generating, we could actually create organic fertilizer, compost manure. Then I went online, watched videos, did research, and that was how we started in 2020. And the first compost manure we generated, produced, happened in 3 months. And by the time I perceived it, it smelled like head. I mean, just your regular soil. So I saw food waste, plantain peel, yam peel, leftover food, gari, anything you can imagine. I mean, turned into literally soil. It was like magic and miracle for me. And we've been doing that till date. So if you get to my house, there's always containers of compost manure we produce every time. So we always accumulate food waste almost every other day, and put there. Then, we add other things, eggshell. You can see fruits, the peels, the leftovers, amazing for your compost. So because what you get from your compost, I mean, compost will enhance growth, apart from the fact that it also enhances biodiversity, nourishes your soil. I mean, the benefits are endless compared to the chemical. So in a way, that's circular economy. So waste from one unit in the house becomes a source of or resource for production, for your own gardening. So we also deploy organic pesticide. It's made from neem tree, neem tree extract actually. So because pests will come for your vegetables, these things they are created to also look for food. So our own neem oil, organic pesticide, our pesticide is organic, very safe. I mean, you have to use it, according to the proportion recommended. So discarded containers, that's reuse. So often, like I said, we can't emphasize the mess plastic waste, is creating in our environment. And they are made from petroleum substances. So the bigger ones, the smaller ones, you can cut them creatively and plant, I mean, you can see in the pictures, waste car tires, discard, most of them are discarded. Those these things are becoming, valuable now because the world is looking into waste materials to reuse, to upcycle, to recycle and all that. So when we also practice home gardening, if you know what circular economy is, it's a master class on its own. But at least to a layman, you are not generating waste. Where you generate waste, the waste actually is not waste. It becomes a source of production or something you can use to get value, to add value to our environment, to yourself. So that's like summary of circular economy instead of just wasting. I mean, the other way to explain it is linear economy. We take from our environment, we produce all sort of products, we use them like a plastic bottle, for example, we drink, and what do? We discard. Then Coca-Cola and Pepsi and these guys we produce all over, we take, we use, and we discard. But in the circular economy, that's not the case. Where whenever you generate waste, waste becomes like a resource for production all over again. So it remains in the system. That loop, you close the loop. So on food waste, we're also closing the loop, here. Our starter kit, Garden in a Box Africa, is a typical example of a circular economy product. Like I said, it comes with compost manure, organic pesticide. We also have biodegradable materials, biodegradable seed tapes, lawn yards, even biodegradable nursery containers that are biodegradable, such that in months and weeks they biodegrade and add value. Some of them are plant-based materials, some of them are earth-friendly materials. So let's also have that. And we should be proud when you are contributing to circular economy. We should all be proud. So I'm hoping that will be part of the incentives, aside accessing quality food, aside maybe like our custom, the other woman I talked about, even earning from it, we are contributing to enhancing the quality of our health, of our environment, by just starting a home garden. Oh, okay.
We have
So,
some comments in the chat,
oh, please.
and would you like me to read them out now, sir?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay, so some are questions with comments, but we have, and Dr. Obisheson has done wonderfully well by helping to explain a few. But we have a question by Dr. Adeyemo. She says that I have sweet potatoes, okra, ugu, scent leaves on a very small portion in my house. The potato helps to reduce weed since it covers the soil. The tomatoes and the pepper die out close to fruiting, even when I have tried everything. I don't know if you'd like to add to Dr. Bishop's answer.
Take the latter part of it again.
So she says the tomatoes and the pepper die out close to fruiting, even when she has tried everything.
Okay. Let me first thank you, doctor, for the feedback. So what I would say is for tomatoes, peppers, they require, tender care, actually. They can be as a result of several factors. It can be the quality of the nutrients, they are getting. So again, I would want to ask, did you at any point include manure, compost manure in the soil, whatever medium you're using to plant? Did you do that? Then also when you're raising I don't know if you raised them as nursery first before transplanting them. So they are a bit, I don't want to say strenuous now, but it's possible. Like the one in my house that I said in the drainage, there was no nursery for it. And the fruits are super big, but the standard is, you nurse them. There's potting mix. You can use compost manure as well to nurse them, because at that fragile stage for tomatoes and peppers, they require very clean, healthy medium to nurse them, such that that when you are transplanting, they already accumulated some level of nutrients and to help them succeed, thrive actually. So it's important. So it can be when they don't fruit like that, well like that. First, it can be the quality of nutrients they are getting. So if it doesn't get enough, just like humans as well, they don't get enough nutrients. So I would say, maybe we can connect after now, or if you have pictures, you can share. Let's see how we can provide support as well, especially if you're in Ibadan. You can also visit our hub. But largely, it can be nutrient deficiency. Actually, it can be nutrient deficiency. So that's a factor. Tomato doesn't need so much water. I'm sure you are watering it, as often as you should. So I think nutrient deficiency can be a major factor. Of course, the other factor, I tell people, no matter how, we don't know how viable the seeds you're planting also. I think that's a very important one, how viable the seeds are. So the quality of the seed also matter. But I tell people one of the most important factor will be the soil. The soil is everything. So I tell people in a handful of soil, would you believe it? If I told you there are billions of microbes, than are humans on Earth. So how nourished is that soil? Again, just to emphasize, it's also important to add compost manure as much as possible, organic fertilizer. So right now we are even at the hub, we are producing frass as well from black soldier fly. We feed them with our food waste, and this beautiful larvae turn our food waste into frass, one of the richest organic fertilizers in the world, actually. So it's important to nourish them to take care of whatever we're planting. So it can be how viable the seeds are, can be the amount of nutrients the plant is accessing. Because if it doesn't access a number of a good amount of nutrients, there's no way to fruit well. And I know there are other factors as well, but those three factors, they're like foundational. Thank you. Any other comments? Okay.
Yes, sir. There's one by Dr. Yusuf. It says, I used to cultivate Irish, I think Irish potatoes in bags, and it produces large outputs. But now it's produced small output compared to last year. Please, can you recommend chemicals for me? That's the question. Yes.
Okay, well, first, the word chemical, I cringe when I hear that, and since it's home gardening, so let's not call it chemicals. So, and largely my specialty is, the leafy vegetables. However, like I said, if we have probably have a database, I mean, we can share going forward. It can also, again, because we also did a bit of um, potatoes actually too. It can also be because these tubers are rugged. They're not as fragile as the tomatoes, the peppers that you really need to look after every now and then. I think the basics, because we don't do chemicals, so I'm supposed to emphasize that 100% organic as much as possible. Household level. I mean, if you are doing commercial farming, it's a different case. So if you are doing 50 hectares, 1,000 hectares, that's a different case. But for household, as much as you can grow organically. So for potatoes also, it can also be the quality of the soil. Then did you grow from the what's it called now? From the board. Are you growing from the board? There's another name it is called. So it also depends on where you are getting it from. I mean, thankfully you did well last year. So the ones you cultivated, you planted this year, is it from the same? The source also matters. So you may also need to, I mean, like we work with Association of Organic Farmers in Nigeria. So there's a partnership, we get technical advice, we get access to information and all that. That will also help. So we are also planning to build a robust community at the hub here. And we just started a WhatsApp group so that all of this challenge, because see, it will be challenging. Even sometimes when you do everything right, it still feels like some things went wrong. But you don't give up. We keep learning, we keep sharing. And that's what we are doing here. We keep sharing with mentors, with experts, with the community, and we keep learning. So it can be the quality of the soil. And please don't give up. Don't give up. We can also connect after now. I have a potato specialist. I mean, he's not here now, so we can connect after now, so that every necessary information you will need, to succeed. And that's our joy, to grow your food and harvest much, even more than what you harvested last year. So we'll share information on that too. Thank you. Any other interesting comment and feedback, okay?
We have quite a few. So I don't know if we want to wait till the Q&A session or you want
Okay,
to.
okay. So let me quickly run through the slides and maybe we'll get
Yes.
back to.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. I mean, thanks to everyone who already shared. I mean, so starting your work, this is not cast in stone. This process or procedure is not cast in stone. That's why I said, what do you want to do? But it begins with planning, not even space, not even what do you want to grow. I mean, some other schools of thoughts will give you different layout or format or procedures. So for me, it begins with planning. You plan it, you think it, you imagine it. I mean, as interesting as that, conceptualize it. What exactly do you want? Envisage even your output and plan it in your mentally first. So think about it before you go into. Then the next thing will be, I mean, like I said, this is not cast in stone. Like I mentioned earlier on, what do you want to cultivate? I mean, sometimes a lot of factor can influence that. What is accessible to you, your location. I mean, so this is Southwest. We do a lot of ewedu here, Littorals Cocoros. I know in the north there are other things, sorghum and co, that are like primary. I know Ugu is almost, I mean, for Southwest, Southeast, I know Ugu is common to, I think in the north too, maybe. Then green, almost every part of Nigeria, amaranthus. I know green is like that particular vegetable we all eat in this country. Okra as well, yes, okra too. So it depends. What exactly do you want to cultivate? Then the next thing is let's plan the space. Of course, there are several other factors. When I started, yes, I looked out for a space in my backyard, where we first moved into in Ibadan. Then the next thing was dash. I mean, so my wife and I, we always have timetable. In fact, we just updated our timetable. Healthy meal plan. we have two different versions, I used to influence what we also cultivate and what we buy, anytime we are, supplementing what we are buying at the market or grocery stores. So once you are ready, yes, it's a mental process. The other thing you can do to motivate you is, go online and just watch videos, read up. So for some, let's not talk about maybe medical conditions here. That can also influence what you're growing. So, but most importantly, vegetables are easily accessible. You can grow them easily. You can start with leafy, local leafy vegetables. People do yams in stacks too, and they get a lot of, pump harvest as well. Then think of the space. Like we said, you don't need all. In this picture, we have grow bags in our organic vegetable gardening starter kits. These are grow bags. Some of these grow bags, we've been using them since 2020. They're quite durable. At some point, we started producing grow bags from waste gene. So instead of your gene getting to landfill, we have a tailor, on the team. We're converting them into grow bags for people to, also. So there's no excuse. Waste tires, unused plastics, and sacks. These things are almost everywhere. So you can start with that. You can see this ground is cemented, and you can see the quality of amaranthus. They were even at the growing stage here. In 3 weeks after now, we have them like really tall, taller, as high as 6 feet, 7, 8 feet. So that's why we call our backyard food forest. So yeah, no excuse. You can start small. You can start anywhere. So look for the space. It's also important. I've talked about using containers and anything available to you. You don't have to spend, a fortune. Of course, then prepare your soil. This can be technical and non-technical. For starters, you don't need all the soil testing. To be honest, I tell people this land, I said that earlier on, this land is blessed. We have very rich soil, to be honest. Sometimes on my phone, I wish I had had them. On my phone, there are locations I get to. I see maize growing same way like the tomato in my house. Pure dry drainage, nothing, no soil, just one tiny hole. That's where the maize came out from. And you see the fruit, very big. The maize itself, as high as 7 feet. And then I sit and I'm like, wow, God, you're amazing. So get soil, you can easily, you don't even have to buy it. I'm sure if you look around, that was how I actually started. Especially when we moved to the other apartment without soil. The first apartment was old Bojija, so old buildings, big space, soil and all that, trees. But this other place, everything cemented, concrete. So I had to go look for soil, take around, and that was how we started. And added compost manure as well. So that's where you need, and then a couple of other things you can also add. Of course, like I said, you can pick what you eat regularly. For starters, the local leafy vegetables can give you huge success so that you're not discouraged, because I met people who got discouraged and got back into it and they achieved success. So you can start with what you've been consuming regularly. Of course, you have to water it daily. So in our backyard farming in 2020, we scaled it 2021, 2022, and then I traveled to Kigali. So I want to talk about the technology part of our startup. There's a slide for our startup though. So just to show the importance of watering. So it was the third day. Then I called my wife and I told her how I pitched this startup and Ellen MacArthur Foundation team. They were blown away. So while I was telling her that, wow, guess what? They loved startup. They want collaboration. That was when she remembered that she had not watered her garden for 3 days. You know what that can, result. Even humans, we need certain quantity of water every intake every day. So we are not dehydrated. So it's very important to water them. Of course, as required, depending on the plant. Then, like I wrote here, I perceive delicious aroma. Harvest, 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 harvest. There's nothing like harvest. The maize in my backyard now, they're growing really, and yeah. So our mobile app, we have a mobile app for gardeners like you, for those interested. Once, it's like 90% developed. So the app will also send you tailor-made reminders, whatever you're planting, whatever vegetable you're planting. tailor-made reminders. You know what to do. You access information, a community of growers and experts as well. So we're doing all that. Oh, yes, so I've been talking about Garden in the Box Africa. Yeah, it's one of those remarkable innovations that we came up with. The inspiration started in 2020, influenced by a whole lot of things. One of my biggest joy this year around April, May, Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition reached out and asked for partnership and collaboration. So we did about 250 supply of the packs to households in the two northern states, and they recorded huge successes. Of course, it doesn't mean it didn't come with challenges, but from their monitoring and evaluation, so the plan is to do like 5,000 for the next 2 years. So, I mean, that's how far the product, Garden in the Box Africa, has gone. I'm excited about it. Like I said, it all stemmed from when friends were calling, they were hungry during COVID, and we had a lot of vegetable at the backyard. I mean, even if it's vegetable. So at the hub also, like Mr. Akinude said, we have a fish farm here too as well. Maybe you can also visit, sir. I mean, anytime you're chanced in Bodija, we're in Bodija, so you can also visit. So it's a circular economy food systems integration we're doing here. Black Soldier Fly facility, there's fish farm, there's a greenhouse, there's organic garden, and yeah, so just recycle, reuse all the waste across the units. That's what. So this box inside it, I mean, it's so cute. You have 3 units of grow bags. So we always humorously say whether you have a front yard or a backyard or a yardless, you don't have any excuse. Okay, how many minutes do I have, please? You don't have any excuse not to grow.
I have to round up to about 5-10 minutes.
Okay, beautiful. So this is like the last slide. So you have no excuse not to grow. It comes with compost manure made from kitchen food waste and now frass from black soldier fly feeding on our food waste. Then it comes with, like I said, 3 units of grow bags. In fact, our latest grow bags have side pockets, so you can grow vertically instead of just the 20 centimeter in diameter space. So you can grow. In fact, some of our biggest vegetables came out from side pockets, actually. Then it comes with cool garden tools. I mean, farming is work. So it's small hand trowel for you to either dig, transplant, or anything. That tool come very handy. It's multi-purpose. Then it comes with the usual manual, and it comes with organic pesticide. It comes with 35 cl of neem oil, so that when you have pests attack, and you don't need to even wait for them. So like it's stated here, our mission is to cultivate 1 billion organic vegetable gardens across Africa by 2050. That's why we're developing the technology aspect of it. So you can be anywhere in Africa, you can download it and you can grow, access all the resources you would ever need. There's a community to help you, information you need, videos, animations, everything you need. And because food, the quality of life is in a way, in fact, hugely linked to the quality of food we eat. Yorubas will say, how do I even say that? Whatever the bird eats is what it flies with. That determines how far it soars. So we know that the quality of the food we take in influences to a large extent the quality of our lives as well. So the app will also be able to read your basic vitals and stats, then maybe check calorie intake as well. And over time, once we are scaling it, you'll be able to, I mean, there are solutions like that already. You'll be able to maybe like
Right, everyone, I think Mr. Shoko is having a bit of a network glitch. While we wait for him to for the network to align, please let us put in the comments in the chat our details. This is important because of giving out of certificates. And so please, in the comments, please put your name, your affiliation, or your institution, your WhatsApp phone number, and your email if you haven't. But if you have already, it has been acknowledged. Thank you so much. So I will put the template in the comments again. And we can please just put our name, our affiliation or institution, and of course, our WhatsApp phone number. We could do that while we wait for him to join us. I would really appreciate that. Thank you very much, everyone. A few of us have also asked for the location of Seed Orb, and the location is number 6 Ekiti Close off Adeyi, Bodija, Ibadan. We could also put that on our Google map, and we would get there. It's on the map. Thank you very much, everyone. We're waiting. So while we wait for him to return, I will just be playing something brief, and I'm sure that he will join us as soon. He will join us as soon as he's able to. Thank you very much, everyone.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can.
Sincere apologies.
No problem, sir.
For that break in transmission. Okay, I'm trying to share my slides. I apologize, everyone, for that break in transmission. The power of this laptop actually went off. Okay, can you see my screen, please? Can you see my slides?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so largely that's what one of the things, like I said, inspired this. So at the point where like I said, if somebody reached out, his wife and children had not eaten in days, and another person reached out, and I felt like how instead of giving people fish, learn in the Bible, how can I teach people to fish, themselves? And I started thinking of how do I export a garden? How do I export the knowledge? So all this put together was what inspired starting Gardening in Box Africa. There are quite a number of other factors too, actually. So I will just move a bit fast. Okay, so the impact is unlimited. Elder families eating fresh, safe food. I also want to emphasize, like I saw in the video, goal 2 SDG goal 2 and 12, zero hunger and responsible consumption and production. That's one of the things that also, at about that time too, I started a master's program, at the Center for Sustainable Development, a master's in development practice. And of course, one of the amazing and inspiring lecturers we had then, still is Dr. Laide. So, he came with all this circular economy inspiration. I remember he talked about eco park, a whole lot of, reuse, reshare and all that. So that also, inspired coming up with this product. Then at some point, he brought me on board to manage COP Africa, Carbon Offset Program Africa, one on unit under Images Initiatives. And we're working with schools that also, helped a lot to scale and, rapid prototyping and testing of the product eventually. So we're conscious of Gardening in Box Africa we're positioning it as, and not just positioning it, it is what it is, a circular economy startup with SDG goal 2, 12 in mind, and some other goals actually. So healthier families eating fresh food. So I'm sure we all want to eat fresh, and safe food. Greener cities with more gardens, and like I said, New York has over 3,000 community gardens. Now, in some of those Scandinavian countries, they are breaking all concrete parts, made with concrete. They are breaking them up, filling with soil, compost, manure, and planting shrubs, vegetables, food, and all sorts of fruits. That's what they are doing in some of those communities now because industrialization came and just changed everything. I always also like to humorously say, I mean, if you know developers, it's the era of developers in Nigeria since over a decade. A developer will take 1 square meter. I mean, like I said, on a lighter note, and they can build 100-story building on it. No plants, no flower, no nothing. They don't think of the environment. Of course, they want to harrow a return on investment. So, but we need to change all that. Of course, policy has is part of what we are doing with GABA as well. We want to work with government and push for policies to ensure that, like what I experienced growing up, our children are really not experiencing it anymore. That's why I always make sure my son, and I know Dr. Aide too has a lot of fruit trees, in his house. So I make sure that my son is involved in the garden, he has access to this because they're just growing up with some fancy, beautiful houses, beautiful edifices, no plants, no trees, no nothing, generators running and all that. So we need greener cities actually with more gardens, and that can also provide influence, cleaner air. More local jobs and youth-led agribusinesses. We've trained a couple of youth. Some have started their gardens. Some have started businesses, around what we are doing. And we also have what we call Project 5,000. We want to empower 5,000 women and youth. They can go with what you get a pack, and you can go install. You can put your map up. You can become, a garden installer, garden designer. I mean, make money from it, and also maybe employ others too over time. Communities stronger against food shortages. I mean that. Oh, so I have a friend, Mark, in South Africa as well. South Africa is one of the leading countries in Africa, spearheading and pioneer pushing for organic community garden. That is not just community garden; it's organic. Because I have a friend there, we work together. They have a lot of beautiful community gardens, and sometimes they just have bountiful harvest and they share. They share with people, so people volunteer. These are systems we hope to integrate, in Ibadan, you're in Nigeria over time. I mean, so like stated here, and again, climate shock and whatever disruptions, these community gardens, your home garden will come very handy actually. A culture that values growing and not wasting food builds resilient communities. I mean, resilience has been a keyword since 2020. And for food systems, we need more of that. We need that integrated, even, and like I said, it begins, from the household or with households against stronger food shortages. Yeah, so thank you. This is the picture. How many of you have seen carrot flower? So I mean, I never knew carrot produced flowers. Most people don't even know what carrot look like anyways. So that's a picture from our garden. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We've learned so much. One of the things you said that really stuck with me is making people have the power to grow their own food, how important it is to not just tell people, oh, you can get this here, but actually empowering them, which is what we're here to do today. And I'll still talk more about next week, where Cope Africa will be having her webinar. So, sir, we have some questions I would just like to read out in the comments. One of the questions says that sustainable home gardening has a lot of affinity with efficacy in plant nutrition and growing medium. Can you help talk on this? Okay, so it says that sustainable home gardening has a lot of affinity with efficacy in plant nutrition and growing medium. Can you help talk on this?
Okay. So again, let me start by saying, like I mentioned earlier, as much as you can, the first step you need to take is to start, like I started. So if you're talking about efficacy, growing medium, and all that, those are technicalities. I mean, over time, of course, I've realized and learned a lot about those. However, like I said, in my backyard, it's still basics we are doing at home. It's still the basics. Yes, it depends on what you're growing. If you're, for instance, the peppers, tomato, habanero, bell pepper, I mean, if you are able to get potting mix, what's called potting mix. It's a medium for, for nursery. It's been prepared to, and to, I mean, it's treated. It's a treat. So instead of using soil, because there are several things, I mean, we pour all sorts into the soil to expose, but these other growing mediums have been taken care of, have been sterilized, prepared for your nursery. So your nursery will grow to, depending on 23 days, 28 days. For bell pepper, it's 28 days, So, I mean, free of any pest or any infection, that's the word, free of any infection, such that when you transplant, it is sturdy enough to even survive in your soil or whatever medium and, germinate and produce. So if you're able to access it, to be honest, there's no problem with that. So if you can access, potting mix is one of them. There's cocoa peat also for your nursery, cocoa peat. Right now we have vegetables growing in compost manure um, at the hub here, just purely compost. Then we have compost manure and a bit of mix of sand too. So if you have access to them, I mean, I think you should go for those materials actually, because truthfully, I mean, it can influence the output, your harvest, your produce, in the long run. So I don't know if that answers the question.
Thank you very much, sir. I believe it does. Two last questions before I let you go, sir. This is by Dr. Alabi. She says that presently I have challenges discarding my kitchen waste. I'm interested in converting my kitchen. I'm interested in converting my kitchen waste to compost. I'll be grateful on more information on how to do this. So she also says that can she use paint pails to grow crops?
Paint what? I didn't get that.
Paint pails, I think buckets of paint to grow crops. Can she use that to grow crops? Yes, sir.
Okay, so for your compost manure, so the way I started, again, I mean, we took a lot of tutorials online, watched videos. So I got this. I started with this discarded keg, that jerry can, 25 liters. So I trimmed off the top, not completely off. So if you go online, that different schools of thought, different experiences. So some will say first, the first layer in your container, whatever container you're using. Now I have bigger containers, whatever container you're using. First put a bit of loamy soil, a bit of soil, put a bit of soil. Then you can add your food waste, then add your greens, then add your green leaves, add your brown leaves, carton, you can have them. So you continue in that order. Some will, I mean, like flip it or switch it. I mean, different. So right as we speak now, I don't even know which particular one I'm following, but there's always green. I mean, so from lawn trimmings, sometimes from UCH, when my wife is coming from work, we pack in the car bags of green leaves, brown leaves, then we apply. So that's the formula. Get loamy soil, a bit of soil, put your food waste, add your green leaves, maybe from lawn trimmings. There are times I'm just driving home and I see some houses. I mean, so I just go to the gardener and like, wow, please. They're always excited. They just want to pack everything. So they want you to pack everything. So sometimes I get from them, and add to my compost, bin. So basically your green leaves, your brown leaves, a bit of soil. Then once you start harvesting or you producing your compost. So I really don't use the soil anymore. I keep part of it to produce the next one. So basically, those are the things you would need if you try that. However, you have to be careful. Then you try and pierce the sides, then as much as you can prevent water, rain especially, so that it's not soggy because it can be, it can, produce very bad stinking odor. So you have to then I stir. You should stir regularly. It's very important. You stir regularly. You stir. I mean, these things from nature, and some people do the thin one. I mean, if you have the space, you dig the ground, and whatever you bury in the soil, you come back in a month, 2 months, food waste, you are literally going to see soil, like soil. So, but I mean, I've been using Bean since 2020, and it's been delivering results. Thank you. Also, for what was the other? Oh, the paint bucket, right? Container.
Yes, the paint pills. Yes,
Oh,
sir.
yes, you can. You can, depending on what you are cultivating. If it's still these leafy vegetables, trust me, they do well. Any size, any color, they do well, actually. Yes, you can.
Thank you very much, sir. We've had such an amazing time. Before I let you go, a lot of people are asking, how can we be in touch with you? Where's the location of your hub? We have put the location of Seed Hub in the comments and chat. But if you want to give more information on how people can connect with you, maybe online, for those who are not in Ibadan, how can they do this, sir?
Maybe, I don't know, my email.
Okay.
You can drop my email. Yes, you can drop my email in the chat box.
All right, sir.
shokweafolayan@gmail.com, shokweafolayan@cdoc.org. So please, I'll expect your email. Let's talk, let's collaborate, let's inspire a new, a new possibility in the food system space at the home level. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We are so grateful for today's webinar, for you teaching us, and it's been an amazing time. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. We've come to that time where we end this webinar. It's been amazing. This webinar is hosted by Images Initiative. It's a connection for making Africa great, empowered, and sustainable. We have webinars every Wednesday this October. Last week, we had a webinar on Beyond the Bean, and this was by ASAPIM. Today, it's by Household Empowerment and Livelihood Productivity Systems. If you go to our YouTube page, you'll see all these webinars there. They are being live streamed, and you can go back and watch again and again if you missed any portion of this webinar. Next week is also going to be amazing. Mr. Shope has spoken about it while he was speaking. We're going to be having a webinar by Cope Africa, that's the carbon offset project. And interestingly, Mr. Shope is in charge of that particular project in Images Initiative. So we would be back next week, and he would also be alongside other people speaking to us about another very intentional topic when we look at carbon offset. How do we protect the atmosphere while we're trying to grow our food, live sustainably? And I'm sure that we will learn a lot. So next week, we will be here with another webinar. Before we go, if you're yet to put your name, your institution, your email, or your WhatsApp phone number, please do that in the chat. We will be in touch with you. I would like to take a quick screenshot or online or e-photograph of everyone. So if you're where you can switch on your video, that would be lovely. We would like to take a quick photograph because we're so excited that you're here with us. So I'm waiting to see if you would like to switch on our video. If you're where you can, please, we appreciate you. And we'll be taking a quick one now. So on the count of 3, okay, I see a few more videos coming on. Okay, I'll wait. All right. Okay, so on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we say cheese. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Thank you so much, everyone. Before I go, we have something we call the AGMCP in also by the Images Initiatives. Now, this is the Africa Graduate Mentorship and Coaching Program. It's a program that I've been a part of when I was on my master's program, and this is the 7th cohort. So the program is a mentor-mentee network facilitated by Images Initiative, and the fellowship is designed for mentoring and coaching graduate level students. So if you're on your master's or your PhD or you're a postdoctoral candidate and you're less than 40 years of age, if you're doing your master's or PhD and you're between 20 and 30, this is for you. Please don't miss it. The application will close on the 31st of October. And so we have our research theme. Our research theme is to develop and improve capacity for assessing sustainable agri-food systems in Africa. We have our sub-teams there. The program runs from January to December every year. And when you apply, you are being, there'll be different stages. And we also have a documentary on our YouTube channel that tells a lot about what this is all about. So I won't say so much. Please watch the documentaries on our YouTube channel, Images Initiative YouTube channel. But the program is from January to December every year. And the life goal and professional profiles of mentees and mentors are matched. And so you get to be mentored by someone who has gone ahead of you in academia and, doing what you hope to do in future. And of course, each successful candidate from an African country. So if you're of African descent, this is for you. So you don't have to be schooling in an African university. but as long as you're not of African descent and you're between the specified ages and running a graduate level degree program, please let us apply for the HMCP. And I can assure you that it's going to be an amazing time. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here once again. Next week, we'll be here again, same time, same virtual room, and I look forward to seeing us all. Thank you very much for being here.